August, actually, September, not August, September 4th, 2021. It's 2:09 p.m. in the afternoon here in San Diego, California. Of course, my name is Kent. The channel is, what am I calling myself now? Crypto Kent. And Bitcoin San Diego. So my new name, my new channel name, because I said I'm trying to rebrand myself kind of a more away from EOS and more towards what we do, which is the challenge application that still runs on the EOS blockchain. So I still talk about EOS, but we're going to be more about challenge because that's what we do. We do a challenge application on the EOS blockchain, which is the only blockchain that will run an application right now, which we're going to talk about today in this video. So I've been trying to think of a way to get people that really aren't into blockchain to understand and distinguish the difference between like Ethereum and EOS. And because a lot of people have confusions there. I mean, Ethereum gets a lot of the press. Ethereum has a lot of the developers. Ethereum has most of the coins that are doing very well. Let's look at the markets. I'll put it back screen here so we can take a look at the markets. The Ethereum blockchain obviously does most of the business. I mean, most of the activity happens on Ethereum, not on EOS. Let's go to the markets for you real quick right here. Take a look at this. So like, if we go to the major coins, obviously Bitcoin number 1, Ethereum number 2, Cardano, involved with Ethereum, Polkadot involved with Ethereum, Uniswap, Ethereum, Chainlink. All these are Ethereum based on the Ethereum blockchain. But the problem with Ethereum is Ethereum is a little bit like the WWE. Was it World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE? Let me go to WWE so you can get an idea. This is the guy, I think his name's The Rock. I'm not really a big fan of the WWE. I like the backstories of the WWE, but it's a huge moneymaker. There's a lot of people love the WWE, but it's fake. It's fake. It's scripted. Not that guys aren't out there getting hurt and beat up, because they're throwing themselves around in a that's the UFC. That's the EOS. EOS is like the UFC. It's the real fight. The WWE is like the scripted fight. It's like the fight that we already know the outcome. It's the fight that we already has been scripted. We know who the players are. It totally fake. Totally fake. It doesn't really work because it's just entertainment. That's Ethereum. Ethereum is just entertainment. It doesn't really work. Versus EOS, which really does work, and it's like the UFC, where the guys go out and really get punched, they really get hurt, and they look like this guy at the end of a fight, where he's all bloodied up. Look at this guy's face. He's got a cauliflower ear. He's got a broken nose probably. He's got bumps all over, bruises. This is the real fighting. This isn't play fighting. This is the real world fighting. This is like EOS. EOS is real world. It's not fake. We're not dealing with fake transactions and fake stuff. This is the real world. Is EOS with the 21 block producers, the high amount of transactions, the ability to run any application or any dApp that you want to run is on EOS, which is like the UFC. It's the real thing, which Ethereum is more like the WWE. It's all scripted. It's all fake. It gets all the attention. It gets all the media. Everybody loves it. Everybody follows it, but it's not reality. It's like, it's scripted. And I found a video here recently that is pretty interesting. And actually I kind of like watching Chico Crypto. His name is Chico. Let's go to Chico's video. And he talks. This is the video. I'm on it right now. But let me talk about this. Let me go to Chico Crypto. You can see this is the his site or his channel. And I like to watch Chico because every now and then he does get it right. He doesn't get it right all the time, but sometimes he does get it right. And on this particular one, this one that I'm going to talk about, let's see, which one is it I'm going to talk about? I think this one right here, Cardano or Polkadot, who is the Ethereum killer #1? So what he's basically saying is Ethereum, and he talks about this in some of his other videos, the Ethereum basically is broken. And the reason Ethereum is broken is because as transaction fees start to go higher because of the burning of the ether through London, so you're burning ether, causing transaction fees to go higher, it's really, really hard to do any kind of transactions on Ethereum except for exchanging coins. And I found this out with this with myself when I bought, as I told everybody I was going to do, and I did. I bought Hex. I bought HEX, and I made a nice gain. I think I bought it at 18 cents. And Hex is now 33 cents. So even though this is 2017, or 2017, where he thinks everything's a pump and dump, and the only reason this is going up is because people are doing the greater fool theory. I'll buy it at 17 or 18 cents. It runs up to 33 cents, even though he's got no development. He's got nothing going on. It's Richard Hart. He's still making good profits. He's making good gains. But the problem is for the small amount of money that I put into Hex at 18 cents, I gave half of the money away, not half, I think 25% of the money away in fees just to do this transaction. Just to buy Hex at 18 cents, I give half the money away, or 25% of the money away just to do the transaction on my MetaMask wallet. So I am just now, actually I am in the, I've probably doubled my money since I put my 18 cents in here, pretty close to doubling my money. But when you figure how much I'd had to take out in fees, I've probably, made a good 25, 30, 40% on my transaction. But I haven't made what I should have made because of the fact that I had to pay the MetaMask and I had to pay the fees for the Ether in order to do the transaction. So when you see these kind of gains, the only way people can make really good money on this kind of stuff, these kind of transactions, is if you're doing large amounts of volume, because then your transaction fees go down for the amount of money that you're spending. So for the small amount that I put into Hex, yeah, I made a really nice profit, but I gave a lot of that profit away in fees. So it's not really feasible to do MetaMask when you're giving so much money away in Ether fees, Ethereum fees. And of course, we're going to avoid that with Challenge. So you're not going to have to go to MetaMask. You're going to have to go to a browser extension, have a MetaMask wallet. You will actually be able to buy the coin directly from our app. So if you go to Challenge, CHALLENGE, and then EOS in the Play Store or the Apple App Store, you will be able to buy this token directly from our app, get away from MetaMask, get away from all the fees, and get away from all the problems, of downloading an extra wallet, having a browser extension, all that other stuff, and go directly to the source, which is us and our token. So yeah, if there's a big profit to be made, it's going to be made on something like what we're doing, and it'd be much harder to make it on something like Hex. And of course, Hex is like the greater fool theory. It will run out of steam one day. When people get tired, or when people start taking too much profit, and there's only very few people that probably are in this with a lot of money, when they start taking their money off the table, the other people that have a lot of smaller amounts of money are going to get hurt. So yeah, and then there's a lot of people that have totally staked in this thing for years and years and years, which I can guarantee you they'll never get their money out of it. Almost guarantee you, in my opinion. But in my opinion, this is a play. It's been a play for a little bit. I've made some money on it, but yeah, I've given a lot to feed. But anyway, I want to go back to Chico Crypto. Oh, and by the way, I was also going to say, since we're talking about the MMA, my son Chase, who's developed the Challenge application, is the number 3 ranked light heavyweight in the country, out of California, out of the southern United States, the number 16th, the number 1, and the number 5 out of the West, number 1 in Arkansas, because he fought some fights out in Arkansas. So he has a 4-0 record. He's fighting in the real league. He's fighting in the UFC and the Ultimate Fighting. Not actually the UFC. He's not a UFC fighter, but he's fighting this style of fighting, the real fighting, not the WWE fighting, which is kind of interesting to me because he told me when he was at Arizona State University as a wrestler, they actually offered him an opportunity to join the WWE. And of course, at that time, he was going to start working on a master's degree. And I remember him briefly saying something about it, that they wanted to take him down for a tryout in Florida for the WWE. And he kind of turned it down, said, no, I'm going to go back to school. And of course, he got a 60-year granted from the NCAA. So he went back to school and didn't take up his opportunity to the UFC, but I mean, the WWE. So Chase could have gone to the WWE, but instead decided to do the MMA. And now he is one of the top ranked fighters in the whole United States as a light heavyweight. So the WWE versus the UFC, that's the difference between Ethereum, which is the fake, which is the high fees, which is the low transaction, the transaction times take forever. Nothing happens. It's just all fake, versus the real, where we're running our app. We're going to be able to sell our token and actually do a challenge where somebody can actually do something on the blockchain besides just exchange coin values, or do something like Uniswap, where I exchange one coin for another coin. That's about all Ethereum is good for, or the Ethereum other chains on Ethereum. That's about all they're good for, exchanging value in coins. They can't run applications. They can't run something like what we're running. We're running an application where we're able to have smart contracts running, where people can challenge somebody to do something and have that challenge be on the blockchain, be recorded on the blockchain, then somebody be able to do the challenge, be able to comment and screenshot the challenge that they've completed, and then get rewarded with a challenge token. That couldn't happen on Ethereum. That couldn't happen on Polkadot. That can't happen on Cardano. That can't happen on any of these other ones because they're just too slow. So anyway, I'm going to go back here and we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that Chico Crypto has to say here. So here we go. I'm going to first of all, let me change my preferences so you can hear him. And you're going to get a chance to hear somebody besides me talk about why Ethereum doesn't work, why Ethereum is the WWE and not the UFC. So I don't want to go to the App Store. What do I go to the App Store for? I want to go to preferences. So here we go. Let me get Chico back up here. Get the sound, the output, internal speakers. Okay, we're ready to go. So let's have somebody else talk about this subject a little bit besides myself. So here we go.
$7. Now, unless you're making a trade in the tens of thousands of dollars or adding or removing huge amounts of liquidity, it's not worth it to transact on the Ethereum mainnet.
Okay, there you go. I just told you. So like I told you, with the small amount of Hex that I bought, even though it made a lot of money, it wasn't feasible because of the amount of fees that I purchased, because the actual transaction took place on the Ethereum mainnet. Okay? That's what he just said. Transaction fees are too high unless you're dealing with thousands and thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of transactions.
So, what can be done about this? How can you still be involved with DeFi and the crypto markets without paying buku bucks on...
Okay, so yeah, how can you, because that's what Ethereum's about. Ethereum's about running smart contracts. We got smart contracts in DeFi. We got smart contracts in applications like ours, the challenge application. How are you going to run that on Ethereum when the gas fees are so high? So here is the solution. Solution is Cardano or Polkadot, both of which are very much very valuable in the markets. I mean, Cardano's number 3, $91 billion market cap. Polkadot is number 9 with a $33 billion market cap. And now the real one where you can actually do something is that 5 billion market cap. I do the millions and billions and get them confused all the time, because anymore it doesn't make any difference. It's just all too much money as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, we got the fake stuff. The WWE is killing the real stuff, which is the UFC, which is maybe the way it runs in the real world. Maybe people want to be in the artificial world and not be in the real world. But eventually somebody's got to build something that runs DeFi. Somebody's got to build something that they can transact in. Somebody's got to build something that actually has some utility. We can't just continue to run in this artificial Ethereum world where we just keep saying that we're going to build something, but we never build something, or keep saying we're going to launch something, we never launch something, or say we're going to be doing, smart contracts and we're going to do Ethereum 2.0 and we're going to do proof of stake. We're going to do it, but we never do it. I mean, that's the WWE, the scripted, we're going to do it, but we never do it. So let's keep going with Chico and see what he's got to say.
This is just a bridge for tokens. Smart contracts are not going to be converted through this.
Okay, hold on.
From a post on the Cardano subreddit about...
That's the wrong clip. I want to go back to where we were at before. So here we go.
Gas. Well, you really have two options. You can try Ethereum Layer 2, or you can use a separate chain.
Okay, and here we are with the separate chains. Now you're talking about Cardano or Polkadot.
That is exactly what we are going to cover today. A production and user-ready Ethereum Layer 2 and separate chains who are promoting themselves as EVM compatible. Which is the best? Who is the most ready? So, Ethereum Layer 2, production and user...
Okay, now he's going to talk about, the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM, and now it's Cardano or it's Polkadot. Which one is going to be the one that wins that particular, that particular race? So here we go. And I think he talks about Cardano first. We'll let him talk about Cardano.
About those other chains that aren't using Ethereum to secure their mainnet. There are more than a few out there, but we're going to talk about the ones on the top of some people's minds. Cardano, Polkadot, and Kusama.
Okay, Cardano, Polkadot, and Kusama. That's who the ones that he's going to talk about. But he talks about Cardano first. First of all, Cardano has just been screaming in price. I mean, this thing has just gone up immensely. In fact, I think it was over $3 for a while. So if you invested in Cardano a year ago, you've really cleaned up. But now they got to actually come up with something here. They're ready to release. I think it's called Alonzo. They're ready to release it. And people think it's going to be a solution for these, for the smart contracts being run on the blockchain. That it's going to be, but it's not. And he talks about that in this video. If I can find exactly where he talks about it. Here we go.
So let's begin with Cardano as hook.
I kind of like to play on words. He calls it Cardano because he's always delaying. So instead of Cardano, it's Cardano because he delays all the time. He's been delaying for 5 years the release of his smart contract platform.
Supposedly, they are not delaying any longer. In less than 2 weeks.
Okay, September 12th. This video was shot on September 2nd. I think, yeah, and we're with September 4th, so a couple days ago this video was shot. So we're coming up very quickly on the Cardano release.
September 12th, smart contracts are coming. The Alonzo hard fork will take place on the mainnet, and people are really getting pumped as they think Cardano is going to steal a lot of thunder from Ethereum.
Okay, so they think that Cardano's going to, but this is the problem with Cardano, and we'll play it here.
About the ERC20 converter usefulness and security, a person commented, contracts aren't being converted. Contracts will need to be rewritten in Plutus or executed on an EVM, which in my opinion is building as a sidechain. So the ERC20 converter out this gate will not see much use, as many popular applications on Ethereum don't have plans to develop with Haskell. Thus, there won't be.
Okay, so I ran 2 videos over this the same time, but basically this is what he says. Cardano is running a different smart contract platform language. He's actually running Haskell, which Ethereum runs smart contracts with Solidity. So you're going to have to rewrite all the smart contracts for Cardano to run on the Ethereum blockchain. So in other words, everything's going to have to be rewritten into Haskell. Let me see if I catch that on this next clip here.
Buy the rumor, sell the news. People have already been buying the rumor since.
So he's basically saying on Cardano, buying the rumor, selling the news. This was exactly what I said.
Beginning of August, the price has exploded from $1.31 to, as of yesterday, $2.
Yeah, so 112% rally in 1 month. That's pretty crazy.
79 cents. just a 112% rally in a month. Although there may be one more run-up of the Cardano price.
Yeah, one more run up, but that's about it. Let's just skip forward here a little bit. Let's go up to let's see what I say right here.
People are expecting, yes, of course, the smart contracts, but also Ethereum compatibility.
So the idea is all the action takes place on the Ethereum blockchain. So if these smart contract platforms like Cardano are going to be successful, you've got to be able to run on the Ethereum platform because that's where the developers are at, and that's where all the action's at. Just like the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment, that's where all the action at. That's where The Rock is. That's where Brock Lesnar is. That's where all these people that are in Hollywood are. They're on the WWE, so that's where the action at. Now Cardano's got to run on the WWE. They got to run on the Ethereum blockchain, but the problem is they run a different smart contract platform programming language. So here he's going to talk about that.
And yeah, smart contracts, they are coming, although in a language developers aren't used to, and in a super basic form. But Ethereum compatibility, that isn't coming September 12th.
So in other words, everybody thinks that Cardano's going to be Ethereum compatible, and you're going to be able to swap back and forth with Ethereum, but it's not going to be. And here he keeps on with this thinking.
So what is coming September 12th? Well, according to the Cardano Plutus roadmap, with the Alonzo hard fork, Plutus smart contracts will be implemented. Now, as we can see from Cardano documentation on Plutus, it says the Plutus platform is the smart contract platform of the Cardano blockchain. Plutus contracts consist of pieces that run on the blockchain on-chain code.
Okay, so he's talking about how it's going to run, but he's going to talk about the language at Haskell here in just a second, and that's what the problem is.
And pieces that run on a user's machine, off-chain or client code. Both on-chain and off-chain code is written in Haskell, and Plutus smart contracts are Haskell programs. This means you have to code the contracts with Haskell.
So you have to code the contracts with Haskell, which is on Ethereum. You have to do it in Solidity, so it's not Ethereum compatible.
Any Ethereum or smart contract developer isn't going to rewrite all of their DApp smart contracts into an obscure language that is extremely tough to learn.
Okay, there we go. And here's that. He just said it right there. So, and that's the reason I say Ethereum 2.0 will never launch, because a lot of people don't want to do Solidity, which was written by Gavin Woods, he's the one that's involved with Polkadot. So Solidity is what Ethereum has used for a smart contract platform. And of course, I don't like what EOS used. EOS uses C++, which is another horrible language, programming language. So, and the reason they do that is because it's a program language without any shortcuts in it. And it's close to the compiler, so it runs very fast. So that's why, and Dan Larimer loves C++ because he was a C++ programmer, so he did it in C++, which is a horrible language. It's a programming language nobody does. That's why it's hard to find developers on the Ethereum, on EOS, because of the C++ contract. But C++ is better than Ethereum, which is Solidity, which is something that was created by, Ethereum, where most people like myself, and most people that I know, we are programmers in, languages that are friendly, that we can use on the front end and you can use on the back end. We don't use languages like C++, which are very, they don't have a lot of, they're not easy to use. They're hard to use, and of course, I have no idea about Solidity. I've never even looked at Solidity because I've never been interested in writing it, because I knew it wouldn't work, because it didn't have any value to me, because it can't. All it runs on is the Ethereum blockchain, and that's about all you use it for, is the smart contracts. Now you got to come up with Cardano, which is using something even worse, using Haskell. So let's keep going with what Chico's got to say.
What do I mean? Well, Haskell is a language that isn't only for smart contracts and blockchain like Solidity from Ethereum is. It's used out in the normal programming world. And as of 2020, it's ranked last.
Yeah, it's ranked less. Like I say, nobody uses Haskell. Everybody, and the people I know and what I use and the programming language I can program in is obviously the one everybody uses, which is JavaScript. I mean, JavaScript is the main programming language everybody uses. So unless they can convert this to JavaScript, in my opinion, it's not going to be very user friendly. Because to me, JavaScript is the most, it's the easiest and it's the greatest, most universal language for writing any kind of, not only for the front end but the back end of any kind of for a programming language would be JavaScript. And I think let me see if I can go back to here so you can actually see where JavaScript is in this. Yeah, JavaScript's number one. Right here's JavaScript. This is Haskell, and I didn't know. Yeah, here's C++. So here's the ones that we were using. I tried to learn Ruby a little bit, learned a little bit of Ruby, but I didn't like it. It's a really quick language to learn, but I didn't particularly care for it. JavaScript, and of course, if you weren't, probably Python would be better than any of these others that they're using. But anyway, they're using Haskell. Why they would use Haskell, I don't know. I mean, maybe through all of his peer review papers, they all come to the conclusion they would use Haskell. But it's a horrible language. Nobody likes it, and of course, it's not going to work out. So when they actually launched this Alonzo on September 13th, and people realize, hey, we're not going to be Ethereum compatible. This price probably is going to fall out of completely away. It's going to go away. I mean, it may fall all the way down, and who knows how far it could fall. But like Chico said, buy the rumor, sell the news. That was exactly what happened with EOS. Buy the rumor, sell the news. When EOS decided they were going to launch a $4 billion blockchain, everybody piled on. Everybody got in. It was a year-long ICO. Price went up to $21. When the chain actually launched, everybody dumped, everybody left, everybody went on to something else, and it was on to the next deal. It was on to, Ethereum 2.0. It was on to Cardano. It was on to whatever else people wanted to buy, even if it didn't have any value. Dogecoin, for instance, didn't have any value, but let's buy that. But like I say, it still works, and it still runs platforms. It still runs smart contract platforms. There's still a smart contract platform that runs apps. We run on one every day, and we run it with very little resources. Nothing like what it costs to run something like, MetaMask or Ethereum with Ether. Although I will tell you this, and this is another problem: the solutions for buying Ethereum or buying EOS to actually run transactions, because you need EOS to run a transaction just like you need Ether to run on Ethereum. The solutions on Ethereum are so much better than the solutions on EOS. The part of EOS that is really broken down is to be able to buy the token, have a good wallet to buy the token in, and then to be able to manage the resources. Dan Larimer always messed that one up. He always made it too complicated and too hard. I mean, if you go to the Scatter wallet or the Anchor wallet and you try to buy a little bit of, or even transfer some Coinbase to an Ethereum, to a EOS wallet or to some sort of, it was always complicated. It was hard. You had to manage, you had to stake, you had to have so many EOS before you could even do a transaction. So you actually had to buy the resources before you could actually do any kind of transaction, which got to be complicated and hard to do. And of course, as money flowed away from EOS, it became more difficult because there wasn't money being thrown into the direction of coming up with a good wallet or a good features for being able to buy EOS to run transactions or to buy EOS to create things, because the resource was such a problem. And of course, they've changed the resource model here now a couple times, and they just have one here recently. It works well, but it's still a problem. That's why we're just going to eliminate all that and go directly from our app. You want to buy our challenge token, go to our app. You can buy it there. Don't mess with, the Anchor wallet. Don't mess with the Scatter wallet. Don't mess with the, and of course we're not on MetaMask because that's an Ethereum wallet, but don't mess with any of those kind. Just go directly to the source, and that's the easiest way to do it. So that's the way we're doing it. That's the way I think makes the most amount of sense, and that's why what we're doing has value. And that's why I say go through the process of building something. That's how things get better, not by doing a pump and dump like Hex, because he's not developed anything or built anything or understands anything about anything other than the fact that, hey, all you do is you buy something and you pump it, and then, you know, as the price goes up and people hold and see that they're making money, they'll continue to hold and throw even more money at it and continue to stake and, you know, hold for longer periods of term because they're getting a good return. And that's the way he's doing it. But that's 2017 thinking. 2021 thinking, 2022 thinking is we're actually going to have something that has some utility and works. And that's what we're trying to build. That's what I think EOS is trying to build. And that's where we're trying to go. Whereas Cardano and Polkadot, and they're still going down the rabbit hole of trying to make Ethereum into something that it's not. And just like he said, the developers aren't going to want to go over to Haskell from Solidity. And that's the same thing as switching everything from proof of work to proof of stake. The developers aren't going to want to do that too. That's a completely different way of operating too. So the whole thing was flawed, and the whole thing is it's just a nightmare. And that's why smart contract investing has a long way to go. And that's why all these are a little bit difficult to understand, a little bit difficult to really get your hands around unless you're trying to play the game and you're in it and at the level we're at, which is we're trying to develop on these blockchains. So, and then he goes on to Polkadot. And of course, Polkadot, let's see what he's got to say about Polkadot. I think he talks about Polkadot about 520. So, or actually, let's go to 629. He has a real long lengthy, two things about Chico Crypto. One thing, he's got a horrible introduction. So when you watch his introduction, just to get rid of it, he's on some sort of airboat, and he's going through a lot of money, and he's got some girl behind him. It's a terrible introduction. He needs to get rid of his introduction. And the other thing, he's got it's called Energy Sponsored Segment, ENERGI Sponsored Segment. I mean, he takes the biggest part of this video, and he has some pitch for somebody that's sponsored, which is fine. That's how you make money on YouTube, and I have no problem with that. But he takes a lot of this video that he's doing, giving really, really good information in, and throws in one of his deals that he's pitching, and then kind of says that's the solution for all this other stuff, which is he can't really say that. You can't really say, hey, Polkadot's not a solution, Cardano's not a solution, but these people are paying me to tell you they have the solution, which is this energy sponsored segment or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I didn't listen to it. I just kind of skipped through it. But that's kind of like saying, you know, I'm being paid to tell you that it's a good deal, but, you know, is it any better than the others? I don't know. He doesn't analyze it like he does the others. So let's see. He's not being paid by Cardano. I'm sure if Cardano paid him money, big money, he'd be telling you how great Cardano is. So that's what happens with a lot of these YouTubers. They get off on something that isn't in the best interest for their viewers because they need to monetize, make more money from their YouTube channels because that's how they're making their living. So they'll sponsor somebody that they don't even probably know for sure if it's even going to be working or not or will work or not, but they just know that they're getting paid some money for it. So that's what he's doing here with this energy sponsored deal. So anyway, let's see if I can get to 629. I marked this down. I don't know if it's anything that it's going to help. Actually, we're at 7:55, so let's see. Where does he talk about? See, he's still doing. I can see on the energy sponsored segment. So let's see where he starts talking about Polkadot. See, he talks about the energy thing, the thing he's pitching, from 8 minutes and 1 second to 11 minutes. 12 minutes. So he's like 4 or 5 minutes talking about this. So from this from 12 to 8, he's pitching his thing, his deal. So here, let's talk about Cardano or Polkadot. Let's see what he says about Polkadot. So this is his the deal that he's sponsored for, and he tells you in the comments. I guess maybe here in the comments someplace, his energy swap, try our energy swap here, and he tells you that they have an agreement. So he's being upfront and honest about it, but it's still, you know, it's still him pitching his deal. So here we go. Let's talk about it's 12:01. Let's talk about, and he does a nice job here laying out where everything is at in this video. So listen to what he's got to say about Polkadot.
Oh, Now back to Polkadot, Kusama, and a certain parachain, which is going to allow EVM compatibility on these networks in a big way. It's ready to go, and porting over contracts to the parachain will be simple for Ethereum developers. So let's dive right in. If you didn't know, Polkadot and Kusama were built.
Okay, so now he's going to talk about Polkadot and Kusama.
For Ethereum compatibility, unlike Cardano, even as far back as October.
Okay, he's talking about the only way this is ever going to work for any of these side chains is if they can get Ethereum to pick up their transactional speeds. And so you're going to have to do it by being able to interact with Ethereum. But here we go.
Of 2019, Gavin Wood, the founder of Polkadot, has written blogs about the synergies.
And don't forget, all these guys are probably worth close to $1 billion.
Between the two and how they would interoperate with each other. One of the major pieces was called the Substrate EVM, and the blog post from Gavin said this about it. This is a Substrate SRML module that introduces an Ethereum compatible execution environment natively into Substrate. Essentially, this...
He goes into a lot of extra information here. Let's just try to get through this because he's kind of getting boring with some of this. He goes too much into some of this extraneous information that probably isn't necessary to go into.
19 in that blog, this compatibility layer has been given an official name. It's now called Frontier, and the documentation is written and live, meaning this is basically ready to go. Who built Frontier? Well, of course, Gavin and the Polkadot Kusama teams, but also a certain parachain.
Moonbeam. Let's keep going.
The minting, buying, and trading of those dang JPEG NFTs. But many can't, as its high fees are not using up one bit.
So here we go. We're back to the fee problem, especially with Polkadot. But let's keep going.
Day after day, month after month, they have been rising.
I'm back to the beginning of the video. Sorry about that.
Supply reserved for liquidity bootstrapping, incentivizing DeFi with liquidity rewards. And he provides the proof of the team saying the DeFi.
Okay, and he keeps talking about, but he doesn't really give the conclusion on Polkadot. But Polkadot is not going to be Ethereum compatible either. But listen.
Not be getting deployments like that out the gate. Moonriver, Kusama, and Polkadot have been building with the EVM in mind, and Cardano hasn't. Building with the EVM in mind is the winning strategy. Cheers. I'll see you next time.
Okay, so I kind of missed it, but basically what he talked about is with the Polkadot, they're also not going to be compatible with Ethereum because they talk about the EVM machine and stuff like that, but there is some problems with the way they interact with the chain too. So both Polkadot and Cardano are not going to be solutions to Ethereum, and Ethereum is scaling problem. So they are not going to fix the problem. The problem's not going to be fixed, but just like the WWE keeps making lots of money, Vince McMahon makes a lot of money from it. These coins will make a lot of money, even though they really never will be the solution for smart contract interoperability or smart contract use, which is what we're striving for. We're striving for smart contract use. So, once again, the title of this video will be the WWE is the Ethereum, the EOS is the UFC, and EOS is the real world. The WWE is the scripted fake world. And that's the world that we live in right now with smart contracts. We live in the fake world. So I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.